Alrighty then, we have a green bar, we have a live counter ticking up, which means hello there everyone, and welcome to the Storytime Network, in which, as the title suggests, a duck learns how to yap. Now what do I mean by this? Well, let's go to the game screen first. So, oh, hang on a second. Always with the game capture issue. There we go. Okay. Yeah, so I learned something. And what I learned was that I have aspirations of yapping. Oh, there we go. I have aspirations of yapping. The problem is, I'm not actually good at it. Which I've learned, I don't really have the natural talent to just yap for hours on end, but I don't think a lot of people do. So what I'm going to try and do this time is maybe continue to talk about the game, try to have a little less dead air, drink plenty of water. I'm probably not going to stream for as long, maybe, though it depends on how into the game I get. And I think I'm just going to try and chat about other things. But yeah, thank you for joining me, everyone, as I once again journey to ye old Kingdom of Amalur. Because, I I I was actually considering playing a completely different game today. And the reason for that is that I realized, okay, hang on a second. It's not like Kingdom of Amalur is a very popular game anymore. It's a very old game. If we consider the original, and even if we consider the remake, it's still like a few years old by now, and it's less a remake, more of a remaster than anything else. So obviously, I'm not going to be doing as well as I hoped in terms of viewership. So clearly, this is not really what I want if my goal is viewership. But I realized, rather than waste good yapping on zero viewership, I might as well use this to learn how to yap, and then endeavor to improve viewership. I was considering playing a lot of things. I considered playing Vampire Survivors, I considered playing World of Assassination, I even considered playing Final Fantasy XIV or World of Warcraft of all things. But I realized not only are my yapping skills not up to par. Not only are my yapping skills not yet up to par, so I would only disappoint myself and everyone who ever believed in me, I also... Okay, what's happening? Something appears to be wrong with my mouse wheel. Oh, because the Q button swaps weapons, I see. I've been accidentally pressing the Q button. So, yeah, I have ADHD, as the tag suggests. I also am on the autism spectrum, as the tag suggests. So, I am not good at maintaining my focus. So, I have somewhat succeeded in creating an environment for myself where I can learn to yap, but I'm not going to be very good at it initially, and maybe not even later on, until I develop a much more significant sense of practice and discipline. So why am I talking about this? It's because I can't bring myself to immediately start the game yet. Because once I start playing, I have a feeling I'm gonna be sinking into a lot more dead air. So for example, I found a death notice of her husband last time.
Welcome.
I could give it to her, but if you hang on to it, then you get surprises, because as with all ARPGs, or RPGs in general, there generally are little side things that you can benefit from if you avoid just directly going into the
Take a look and let me know if you'd like
into the
to purchase anything.
realm of see, yeah, I just went to a shop and bought something, and that alone was enough to make me lose my ability to yap. So this is why I'm concerned. I want to learn, but learning is difficult when I don't even know how exactly I'm gonna proceed. Oh, you'll notice I have this new fancy Cheater's Necklace of the Center, which I made myself through cheating. I also have the Cheater's Ring of the Right and the Cheater's Ring of the Left. I plan on, at one point, making a Cheater's Shield of the South and Cheater's Helm of the North. But I don't know if Helm or Torso is more appropriate for that, but yeah, I have a lot of big plans, and hopefully they come to fruition eventually. Right, I have to remember not to get too many antelope heads. Now, if I were to remember, oh, what is this? I got boots. Anyway, if I can actually, oh, this seems good. Three of the set although. Right, the reason I keep pressing Q is because I'm used to FF14, where I've been using Q and E as the turning button, as opposed to when I'm not using the mouse. So, okay, there's a reason for this. Right, so I could finish the Yolvan quest. I could go all the way to Glendara, but I think I'm going to go south to Webwood and head for Arden's Hut. Actually, no. First of all, I'm going to be doing this quest, which I missed out on last time. Or rather than missing out on it, I would say it's more appropriate to say, actually, what are these buffs? I see, so I have these permanently because I accidentally, or I put them on the, I see. Now I understand why these, are going to be here consistently. Anyway, I have a quest that is gonna lead to some yapping.
Step right up and allow yourself the pleasure of my company. I am the great Oleander Sinclair, alchemist virtuoso. Today only I am offering the people of Yolvan a special... What am I offering? Blast! The potion's wearing off. A potion. His potion, I mean. Oleander Sinclair. See, I'm not really him. He being a dead guy I found in a mine nearby. Landed on, really, but he was already dead. Maybe I took his coin and drank one of his potions. That's when things got strange. I could make potions? Tonics, cordials, restoratives. Turns out I really like alchemy, but the potion's effects are fading. Will you help me make another? Let's just say before I became Oleander Sinclair, I was less a travelling alchemist and more of a robber of travelling alchemists and other people. I don't recall the potion's name. No surprise, I can't even remember my own name. That's the price you pay for being for being a liar. Those war-sworn curs likely have one in their keep. Not sure. You could make the potion using the proper reagents, but that would require work. We've got to hurry, though, because I'm getting dumber by the moment.
This dude, with a minor alchemist's art, which raises your alchemy skill by 1, went from 0 to competent enough to be a potion salesman.
Hope
What
this
does that
works.
say about
Bottoms up. I
my...
think it's working. Indubitably. Plethora. Effulgent. There it is. Now I should be able to brew up anything I need in no time. As agreed, here's your payment. You're a real lifesaver.
So, the reason this is interesting is because I have an alchemy skill of 10. Granted, it was gained through dubious and illegal means, but the fact remains that I have an alchemy skill of 10. And the reason that's significant is that, well, of course it's significant, because you can get to that level in like not 10 levels, you need a few more levels, but you can get to that level just naturally, which means our player character is some sort of savant, or genius, or some similar word that I'm not good at. And it's very interesting because that really, it's D&D rules, right? Because even a level 1 D&D player character is exceptional by the standards of the universe. And it seems similar here, where even at a lower level, you are still a somewhat exceptional member of the population of the world. And I find that fascinating because while that is the standard, it makes me wonder why that became the standard. The idea of being exceptional... We'll talk about that in a minute. Let me talk to Mikael first.
Good. The troll that stole the ring in the ballad is named Lecker the Corpulent. I guess he had a bit of a appetite. You need to mount the trophies just like the champion in the ballad. When all are displayed, Lecker should come. Once he's there, it should be
Lecker's
easy
gonna
business
what?
claiming the ring. I mean, you've killed a troll before,
Oh, yeah.
right? You need to display them in the ruins. That's what's going to
Attempted
draw
zoomer
out Lecker the Corpulent and get us the ring. I'll be here.
Right, so... This is why we have... For some reason this looks much bigger than I thought. How is it that they're bigger after I've killed them than before? Yeah, that looks fine. And there's like a corpulent, and... I'm just going to go directly... Take a bit of doing. Maybe shouldn't have gone immediately, but on the plus side, mines do seem to be doing something, as do the Fergorta. So, yeah, why is exceptionalism so interesting? Because exceptionalism, despite its evils, is a dream of common people. Everyone wants to be exceptional. The problem is, a lot of the time, it's not so easy. Now, let me see what this ring is like and see if it's worth falling out with this person for. 10% health, it's nothing. But still, I might as well.
Ah, thanks for dealing with Lecker. I wasn't really afraid, mind you, just playing the
Of
part.
course, I totally believe you.
Now that this business is over, just give me the ring and I'll give you your payment.
Yeah, I think I'll hold
Somehow
on.
I doubt that. We travelers can tell when a silver tongue is tarnished. Take the money. Like pleasant travels.
Yeah, you all know what I'm about. But yeah, being exceptional is the dream, and I think it's the temporarily
What is it?
embarrassed
Now that
millionaire's
this business
problem,
is over,
right?
after seeing what you did to that troll, looks like there's no fairy tale ending after all. You would make a good traveler. Be gone with you.
So the reason is that, well, no, so American exceptionalism obviously has been something of a problem because every American seems to consider themselves as the common colloquialism suggests, a temporarily embarrassed millionaire, in the sense that they are not someone who... Which is why they are so against the idea of any sort of taxation against the wealthy, because they're like, well, that's me in the future. Except, you know, just not right now. I'm not, just because I'm not rich now doesn't mean I won't be in the future. So, like, really, a taxation of the rich is taxation of myself. And that's a very interesting sort of mindset to have, because while you can say positive things about general optimism and believing in yourself and believing that you will make something of yourself, I think a lot of us have to face cold, harsh reality, and that in and of itself is not a good thing either. For example, I've had to face the cold, harsh reality that I'm not going to be any sort of prodigy, right? I am autistic and I was a gifted child, so I thought, oh well, I'm a gifted child, so I'm going to be a prodigy in the future. Oh. Oh dear.
Interesting. You're not at all what I expected to find here. I trailed a band of Tuatha to this place. They killed the Fate Weaver. I was hoping his corpse would give me an idea of why they were here. Now I know. They were hoping to find you. Oh, no reason. At least not one you have to worry about. If I'd interfered, I'm certainly on your...
Well, y'all know what I'm about. If I fail a persuasion check, I will of course save some.
Interesting. You're not at all what I expected to find. I was hoping. Now I know. They were... Oh, no reason.
Oh,
At least
come
not
on, it's a
you have to worry-
one-third
If I
chance.
didn't, I'd be on your way.
I mean, I failed a 66 one-third chance twice. Surely it's not going to make me fail 3 times in a row, right?
Interesting. You're not at all what I expected to find. I was hoping. Now I know. They were... Oh, no reason. At least not one you have to worry about. If I did, I'm certainly on your...
Maybe I should try a different dialogue option this time. That might help.
Interesting. You're not at all what I expect. Oh, is that the name of this Fate Weaver? No. The Tuatha I was hoping his corpse... Now I know. They were hoping to... Oh, no reason. At least not one you have to worry about. You have no idea who I am, do you? This is starting to make sense. But no time for introduction. I'm certainly on your...
This is irritating. What if I leave and come back? Maybe that'll reset the RNG without breaking the quest.
Interesting. You're not at all what I expected to find. Oh, is that the name?
I actually like
his
this
corpse would give.
line of
Now I
dialogue
know.
more.
They were hoping to find you. Oh, no reason. At least not one you have to worry about. You but no, I'm still on your way.
So what I'm gonna do, because I keep failing this check, is I'm going to hard save first of all, just in case this comes back to bite me later. I'm gonna like move on, go somewhere else now that I have this fast travel point unlocked. And then maybe after giving it a few minutes to reset the RNG, I'll be able to come back and enjoy myself. Now, the idea of facing reality and... Okay, so prodigies. Prodigies... I have, as a gifted child, been raised with that sort of mindset, right? Like, oh, you are somehow special. And in many ways, I think being told that they're special is one of the coolest things you can do to a child, because you can have zero expectations for someone, for a child, but ultimately, even those zero expectations can lead to something heavy. Because just because your expectations for a child are 0% doesn't mean that child's expectation for themselves is 0. And therein lies the problem. Because by telling a child that they're special, even if you don't expect them to excel, they will expect themselves to excel.
The forest you call Dalentarth was ruled by Issa. The god king fostered communion, a sharing. The mortals heeded his wisdom. The Fae followed his spirit. He linked the natural with the divine and became a nature unto himself. He knew the lives of elf, human, gnome, and all people. He showed the Fae these words and ways. He united the Oath clans. As the meadow grows into woodland, so did Issa grow the court of summer.
And also, if you have arachnophobia, this is the time to warn you. This is the spider area of the game. There's a lot of spiders here. I'm going to be creating fire gears specifically to deal with the spiders later, but basically, here there are spiders, be warned in advance. Considering the fact that the final boss of this region is called the Widow of the Spider Widow variety. You know what? I'm gonna see how much a meteor does. But yeah, this is what happened to me when I was a young duck. Duckling, as it were. Just a little fuzzy with no real expectations of the world. I was always told I was special, that I was different from all the other kids. Because I was different from all the other kids. I think what I didn't really internalize, and that it's difficult for people to internalize at that age, is that different from the other kids doesn't mean better. It doesn't necessarily mean worse either. Different just means different. And special is just a way of saying different in perhaps more positive terms. Because obviously you don't want to, like, destroy a child's dreams that early on. Right? Like, to a certain extent, children's dreams do need to be destroyed. But if you do it too early, then that's just not very sporting, is it? So, when you have to be very delicate when destroying the dreams of small children. And I think the most important phase of this delicacy is when you realize that children are little people, right? They may be much underdeveloped compared to the average adult, but nevertheless, children are people all on their own. And it's difficult to right. I see Ironhold passages away to guide in here. You could actually choose a different main quest. So children understand, or at least have a lot more complicated thoughts than adults may realize at times. And the most important facet of this is the realm of expectation versus reality. And often, telling a child that they're special, only for them to realize they are not excelling in the way that they believe the term special implies, is
Interesting.
problematic.
Not at all what I expect. Oh, is that the name? I was hoping. Now I know. They were knowing you. You're definite. But something tells me I know you better than you knew yourself. Don't you remember me? I'm hurt. No time for introductions now. The two are. I'm certain that we'll see one another again. Soon.
Okay, so
Be
that...
on your way.
Right, of course you did the smoke thing.
What happened here? Arden's dead. How did this happen? Why would they have come here? Why kill a harmless old Fate Weaver? They couldn't know that you were head. I mean, the stingy bastard owes me a week of drinks. Doesn't mean he
How do
deserves
you
to be
measure
murdered.
drinks in weeks?
I was hoping to avoid this, but I think I'm going to have to take you to Delok. Maybe not directly, but something isn't right. I'm going to have to handle this myself. I go. I'll meet you there once I give Arden a proper funeral. I was hoping it wouldn't come to this, but we're going to have to go to Delok. Maybe something there can tell me why I can't see your face. Ah, the warm and welcoming Fae of the Summer Court. They were the ones who You'd hardly realize the Tuatha are the same sort of creature. Everyone thinks the immortal Fae are enigmas. But they've got... The Fae are simple. Far simpler than mortals. They never change. Even when their bodies die, they reform again, often years later. He died before his time, but I can't imagine many tears will be shed for him. You tell enough futures and soon you won't have any... Under the Delok ruins in Etenmere is a nexus of oracular power. It's where the Fate Weaver Order was founded, but no one has been there in over 100 years. This is twice now I've buried the bodies left in your wake.
Yeah. You get it for encountering a protagonist type. Now, the reason it can be problematic to not necessarily give children... The reason it can be problematic to give children false hope like that is because, like myself, they may end up spending the rest of their life being like, could I have done better? Could I have changed things in my favor and sort of become greater than I am and become what I was meant to be? And that meant to be is dangerous, right? Because inherently, people aren't really meant to be anything in that sense, right? Like, people are just people. We're here, and then we die, and the important thing is everything between those things. We're born, we die, and the most important thing is the present and doing stuff while we're here. Now, granted, that can be difficult for people. Doing things, even if it's not necessarily doing the thing, it's tough. It can be very difficult, and more than difficult, it can be stressful and painful and anxiety-inducing. Now, I'm going to have to enter a combat encounter here, which, as expected, is going to make me somewhat distracted, but... Right. It really is difficult for me to multitask. I think that's one of the biggest problems with ADHD is, like, especially because I like this game a lot, and as a result, I have a desire to actually do well and play well, and, like, just play the game in general, right? So... when I fail to properly...
Greetings! Thank the gods. Somebody finally came. Tell us, are you from Goreheart or Dyden Hill? It seems you're not the assistance we requested, but don't think me ungrateful. I could... Canarok could use someone of your particular skill. We sit on the border to Webwood, most of us silk farmers. Normally, we rely on our bridges and an ancient summer fey aura to guard. But of late, what defenses we have are failing. These monstrous spiders strike at us from all sides.
I mean, you
They've even gotten
literally
as far
live
as
in a
Yolngu.
place called Webwood.
A week ago, a team of hunters
and
was
make-
led by the village's
make
chief
your
defender,
living
Barton.
off of...
We need someone to go find him and his party. Good. I have more information to give you regarding, and these townsfolk are growing hysterical. Meet me on the southern bridge. The spiders. We've had an uneasy existence on the edge of Webwood, but never
oh
have
God,
we had to
look at
fear
those
for our lives.
2011
Sir.
eyes.
And our greatest warrior, Barton, is lost somewhere within it. We need good hunting.
Right, I'll talk to him after I've gone everywhere else that there is to go. You see this white icon? That's my future house. Right there. Though, it's gonna be a while. There's an entire quest line I have to do before I come to claim that home as my own. But still, it's a... Oh wow! Didn't realize I've... Wait, I haven't gotten, unless it's referring to something else. Anyway, in my youth, I crashed hard in grade 11. The reason for this was the reason that many gifted children crash. I was told that I was special, that I was different from the other kids, and I took that to mean that I was somehow better. When in fact all that meant was I just had an easier time with some things and a harder time with other things. And eventually I learned that I wasn't some prodigy. I wasn't gifted in the way that perhaps I wanted to. Right? I was gifted in the sense that I was, I had certain differences in the way my brain worked, but not gifted in the sense that I could instantly pick up anything I wanted to and instantly learn anything I wanted to. Things like that, right? That was never me. And that, I think, is is what I wanted to be, even though it never was what I was. So, I guess that's just what caused me this big kerfuffle in the first place. Because, oh, God, what is that? Because I was like, but I should be better than I am. But I wasn't. And this isn't... And I'm not trying to turn this into a sob story, because I've learned better now. That, oh no. Part of Brother Till's porn collection. And I think I've recently come to the realization that just because I didn't make it in my youth, and just because I wasn't as special as I wanted to be or thought I was, doesn't mean my future is hopeless. And that is the important thing. I still have a chance. I sincerely believe that. I refuse to settle. And that's a difficult path to walk, but I want to walk it to the end.
Thank the gods. Someone from the outside finally made it through. I thought we'd be up, but it's good you're here. I'm Silhouette of Vonner, the village. Normally I keep a stock of anti-venom at hand for when silk farmers get bitten. But with the recent attack, there's not much to the potion. But because we've been... So there is an ingredient I still need.
You know, that's
the
funny.
poison glands of the spiders
You'd
themselves.
think that...
I'll need someone to harvest them.
You'd think that they'd have built up a resistance
I'll
to
need
the
as large
spider
a batch
gland.
of the potion as I can make. So 15 glands or so will be needed.
You'd think that,
In the maws of the beasts that hunt us, it's no easy task.
that they'd, have gotten better at this sort of thing. Or rather, they'd have developed a resistance as opposed to developing a weakness. So, I do think, like...
But the town needs this potion. Stay safe.
Right.
You came from the wood? I almost can't, but sorry, I forget myself. I'm Jennery Vorna. I get lined the web.
So, it may be arrogant of me, I understand that, to say, oh, I'm not going to settle. But I think what I need to try and say is that settling is also fine. Right? Like, I don't mean to say settle as if it's some sort of, awful thing. Settling is a natural part of life. And I think a lot of people don't really want to acknowledge that, but the fact of the matter is, you don't have to be inferior if you settle. Like, that does not make you inferior. What makes you inferior is grumbling about it endlessly. Oh no.
Stranger. Looks like the wrong... No offense, but I've not much interest in talking or listening. Doesn't pay to get... Finally.
But yeah, I think... Now, in some ways, the talk of superior and inferior is inherently problematic as well, because life is hard enough. But I think when I talk about them, I mean more in terms of mindset and attitude than I mean in terms of like any sort of technical meaning. Because it's one thing to settle and find a comfortable groove for yourself. It's another thing entirely to not refuse to settle, but also refuse to try and improve yourself. And I think that is what I hope to avoid, because I like just how this stream is going so far. I want to be a better fuzzy than I am now. And that is has always been my goal, and that remains my goal. Because I want to be a better person, a better fuzzy than I am now, I will inevitably run into a situation where I was a bad fuzzy. And by being a bad fuzzy, I...
What's needed now?
And by being a bad fuzzy, I've realized that regret is not something escapable. As long as you're alive, you will have regrets. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, because regret is another way in which we can learn. Now, this is sounding a lot like Chicken Soup for the Soul, isn't it? And I think that's... You know, we have a problem nowadays. We have conditioned ourselves to... I'm gonna put a minor phase potion on my radio, because... This is too fast. So, I have come to the conclusion that we take ourselves both too seriously and not seriously enough nowadays. We take ourselves too seriously in the sense that we refuse to acknowledge this sort of these little nuggets of wisdom, even though they exist for a reason. Right? These little nuggets of wisdom are there because we have had ancestors who have been like, oh hey, turns out it's actually quite useful to reflect and share our reflections with others. The problem then is that we have decided that it's cringe. So yeah, we don't take it seriously, but we also take it too seriously. Because we take ourselves, like, it's a complicated way of...
Stranger, I heard what I wouldn't give to
Who
be
told you
like
that?
you. To leave this place. I haven't seen my home in weeks. That's just it. I don't know. I came to Canarok some days before the first attacks. Our farmhand, Cartery Jake, stumbled into Canarok a few days later. He was tight-lipped about my... Now he avoids me, avoids everyone. Something happened at the farm, but I can't bring... Thank you. I will give you whatever I have. Just bring me news of my mother and father. I need... At Toff Farm. I need you. Our farmhand, Cartery Jake, made it here a few days after the attacks began. But he won't give me a safe journey.
I mean, it sounds like he killed me.
Oh.
And that's not just because I've already met him. And he seems shady as sin. But, like, it does sound a little bit like she killed him. Or he killed him. No offense. Right. I'm gonna... I find it very difficult to talk about this sort of sincere conversation nowadays because people are too focused on the idea that sincerity is cringe.
Does no one else see the widow? The widow is coming for us. We'll be food before nightfall. We can't hold this island, these few buildings against them.
Sure. Now give me your loot. Am I gonna bother buying any of this stuff anymore? We'll buy all of the consumables. I'm sorry, liquid seduction. Oh, I didn't mean to buy those. Didn't mean to buy those at all. But I did, so like I'm short on gold.
Widows spare you.
I'm pretty sure it's gonna have to be the other way around, considering I'm a protagonist type, so, you know. So I'm gonna try. I wasn't able to install the mod that was like, mutes Battle Fury. Battle Frenzy, sorry. So, I'm gonna put that on and see how bad the sound effect is. Not bad, but it's not great either. So I'm just gonna avoid that. I put another ability on though. Like impulse. Might be helpful. Don't need the freezing trap. Actually, you know what? I'll put the poison bomb on. That works on. Anyway, I'm gonna craft some stuff though. Because I now have good loot. I want the plus damage. I don't think I want the plus damage yet. Instead, why don't I go all in on crit chance? Of course. Lovely little gem of incineration. For all of the fire damage. I will name you Melvin 2. Second. Same with chocolate. Chakrams, I think I'll improve the damage of. Well, no, actually, I think keep the. Add per chance. Right, you can only add a even more crit chance, perhaps? Crit chance on everything I do to crit. And we shall name this Chakram Sandwich 2. Now with extra chakrams. What am I wearing? Armor, I guess. Let's make myself a chest piece. Go on. Efficiency. Plain armor. damage resistance. I guess I can go with just flat damage resistance. Oh, no. I don't even know what I put on. Damaging. Don't want the extra damage. You know what? Maybe 1 damaging is fine. And then... There's like... I want... Not exist, so... Let's just go with extra armor, and then... Mana cost... I mean... Yeah, I think the subjugators is the way to go. Let's call it Timmy 1. First generation of Timmy. That, let's see where I start. I currently have 2 elemental resistance and subtract so... Oh, that was unintended. Probably make myself some pants too. Bleed resist, crit damage, health regen. You know what? Let's make myself a pair of pants too now. Let's actually make it rogue. I am something of a universalist. To see. All of the rituals. You know what? Let's some extra mana regen on that. Freddy. That will be. Oh, I should have named you Freddy 1. You know what? I did not mean to be pantsless for some reason. I forgot that, Why is it boob plate? Can we talk about this for a second? It's got spikes and crystals and stuff on it, but it's boob plate. I'm gonna receive comments about this. Assuming someone watches this at some point. How is this compared to less armor, blocks less damage? It's literally worse in every way, except it has a chance to... Well, I have some armor. That's good. I've been yapping for 54 minutes, and I am disappointed in myself, not because I've failed to yap, but because my yapping has been insufficient for my purposes. So I think I'm gonna go drown my sorrows in the House of Ballads. So where is Starcamp? That's Top Farm. Where's Starcamp? So I was all the way... I suppose there might be an entrance in Glendower, but I'm going to start with House of Ballads.
Proceed no farther, mortal. You are not one of our kind, and the seat of Sir Sagrel will never be occupied by one so mundane. Hallam the White prepares the contest, and he must not be interrupted at this our time of greatest need. No doubt you speak of Illuvia, impetuous fool. I told her to avoid your settlement, to avoid Odaroth altogether. She never listened to my word. I will chastise her appropriately upon her return. It is a loss, yes, but not the first unexpected event in this telling. What happened? Attacked, you say? Your kind is too timid to even speak to us, and now you're trying to kill us. I do not understand it. However, your honesty is appreciated. Tell the people of Gorhart that they have nothing to fear from us. We mean them no ill will. It is to fill. This is not a mortal concern. If Hallam learns, farewell.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna go. Even though you told
Listen, all of you. As you've clearly heard, a rare vacancy has occurred in the House of Ballads. There has been an event, a great twist in the narrative of our kind. Sir Sagrel has fallen. Sagrel, slayer of Ozigan, defender of the crown of Haxi, has been defeated. A death in the House of Ballads gives an opportunity, a chance for one hero to join the ranks of the greatest champions in fey-telling. Olain, Kreth, Wenson the Bold. Do any of you, have the courage to pass the confirmation? If you do, your adventures will be sung to the heavens for all eternity.
Yeah, dude, sign me up.
This does not concern you, mortal. You would not, could not, understand. One of our most beloved heroes has fallen. Sir Sagrel's passing leaves his legend in peril. A seat in the House of Ballads cannot remain empty, lest the great stories end. And that must never happen. We are the collectors of tales, the warriors of lore, the most respected of all Summer Court heroes. Our deeds are known across the Fey lands. Our great knights, Wenson the Bold, Airmer the Pure, Olain the Kind, are destined to repeat their quests for all
Low-key,
eternity.
that sounds kind of torturous.
No Fey.
This is definitely a blue and orange morality alien mindset
us
situation.
Of who we are.
But I cannot
and what
imagine
we've done,
living
of
the
our
same
greatest
life
achievements and our
multiple
deepest
lifetimes in a
losses.
row.
The
Especially if I
house
remember
ensures
all of
those
my previous
defining
lifetimes.
tales
That
are
would drive
never
me insane,
forgotten.
like, by the second or third repetition, I
Sir
think.
Sagrel, slayer of Ozigan, lord of the morning mists, and defender of the crown of Haxi, was one of our most beloved knights. Several days ago he departed to do battle with the Grave Thresh, his most famous and legendary foe. But there was an event, a twist in the story. In this telling, it was the Thresh that bested Sagrel. You are bold, but that is not how tales are told in the House of Ballads. Only a worthy Fey hero may finish his quest. However, these are strange times. Magic weaves itself in new patterns and change. It is the one thing with which we Fey have no experience. If you so choose, join the other pledges. You too may attempt to defeat the Grave Thresh, recover Sagrel's ring, and take his seat in the House of Ballads. The lair of the Thresh is east of this great house, in the hollow of Gorgoeth. In the evenings after dark, you can hear its disturbed slumber. The cries are unsettling. Go now, and make the song your own.
Cool, cool, cool. Now that I have that quest, I'm gonna not do it immediately. Instead, I'm going to slowly but surely clear out webwood. That's just how I like to play the game. I like to go one area at a time and just slowly clear everything. So I'm gonna explore the area, find all of the loot that I need to find, accept all the quests that I need to accept, and then just generally have a gay old time. First, let's pick up this guy's quest in case I stumble upon the completion without properly managing it.
Hello. Again. Speak with me a moment. Kenrock is looking to me for leadership, and I'm more than happy to give it to them. However, if Barton returns, that
yes,
all evaporates.
village politics.
Let me put it this way. It is for the best. He's a stubborn and superstitious fool. He'd have the entire town chasing shadows instead of... Barton has survived worse than this. I want to... So here's my proposal. I'll pay well for your help in this. Unlike Barton, I have... What are you talking about? I mean... Now, are we finished? Kenrock has need of me. I'm a very important man, you know. Good hunting.
Just that means I'm not going to kill you. You do not talk to your hitman that way. Okay, good sir? I'm going to kill you, maybe. Not necessarily, because I don't really care enough to commit a crime for that reason, but I'm definitely not going to be killing Barton, because you told me to. Even to the point where if someone else had told me to kill Barton, maybe I would have. Because it was you, I definitely not. I am, however, going to go listen to this juicy lore of this lore stone.
Oh, they said, it is not good to have a dark in summer, so I made a night. Oh, they said, to Yolvin you should look, so I found Cathras. Oh, they said, you have no food, so I brought water. Oh, they said, you have no homes, so I grew trees. Oh, they said, you have no music, so I laughed.
Right, I'm doing a much more reasonable amount of damage now. Also, the smoke bomb is not what I expected. It's definitely something for a strictly sorceress, or a strictly, the one is decent. There's not a lot of active abilities other than that. What does this even do? Right. Go into it. Buff is... Right, I also have to collect poison glands. Also, there are times when I'm upset that quests don't give you drops from every single enemy, but this is one of those times when it seems a bit more reasonable, because, like, obviously poison glands can get damaged in the course of a fight, so it makes a certain amount of sense that you wouldn't be able to collect poison glands from every enemy. Right, capping, sincerity. Let's talk about Chinese web novels for a bit. I am not an expert by any means on Chinese culture. Chinese. Though granted, I'm sure not an expert on any culture despite being part of a culture. So that's really not much of a stake. But what I was meaning to say is, oh no, it's the product. Okay, that went much smoother than it should have. To the point where I can actually afford to no longer open every fight with my meteor. I think I should even just take it off my hotbar. Be sure I can do more damage. Also don't want to go this way just yet. But yeah, I'm not one of those people who believes you can know things about a culture just by... Well, okay. I'm not entirely one of those people who believes you can know things about a culture just by reading their media. You can know some things about a culture by consuming their media. You can't know everything, obviously. Right? That's just common sense. However, it is interesting to see what a given culture chooses to include in their media and what they choose to exclude. And I don't really know how to, like, properly, articulate this, but I read a lot of Chinese web novels. There's some very problematic elements in Chinese web novels by modern standards. Or even by not modern standards, really. But one of the things that it just is possible for me to properly grasp is the significance of certain social contracts, which obviously that's quite a thing, right? Like, social contracts in a collectivist society are obviously going to be much more vital than social contracts in a non-collectivist society, but the sort of focus in the web novels that I've seen on seniority and respecting the ancestors is just... In many ways, there are good aspects to it, obviously, because I feel like it can be way too easy to just be mean to older people. But at the same time, I don't like the idea of blindly venerating the words and deeds of those who have come before you, because obviously it's not like they were omnipotent deities who knew everything. I forgot there were skeletons in this area as well. Maybe I should have summoned my own and made him murder his kinsman. Huh. There's a lot of skeletons in the area. Right. So, while I can understand that, like, obviously, there were plenty of discoveries that, like, we stand on the shoulders of giants and all that. There's plenty of things that were only discovered because our ancestors did a lot of trial and error. But at the same time, that doesn't mean they were necessarily superior to us. They simply discovered things that were in many ways I don't want to say easier to discover, but more straightforward to discover, as opposed to us who have to discover any number of nigh unsolvable problems without, like, going through an immense amount of headache. So, we may stand on the shoulders of giants, but we do have to remember that those giants were metaphorical giants. They were not literally supernatural beings that are superior. Now, granted, there are cultural problems with what I'm saying, considering the fact that ancestor worship is a valid religion, and I'm not meaning to yuck anyone's yum or disparage religion inherently. I am a religious person, and obviously, nature of religiosity is such that everyone who's religious takes on faith certain things that perhaps they shouldn't, or in the eyes of those who are not religious are nonsensical. But at the same time, it's hard for me to reconcile this, because it's one of those things where I acknowledge that I am not I'm not willing to commit to one thing or the other and just say, oh, this is correct and this is wrong, because I believe it's a lot less simple than that. But at the same time, I'm also not willing to overly conciliatory all respects. So it's complicated, is what I'm trying to say. Because, like, as a religious person, obviously, my own religious ancestors, such as it is, are going to be problematic. So, in many ways. Because that's simply the nature of time and history and the world moving forward. Right? Like, people will inevitably...
The steam of summer from the forest, like a runner in the night, or mist from a lover's whisper. Spectral blood from the riverbed wraps our bodies in gloss. The fog eases through blades of grass. We shall grasp these floating strands of summer and capture beauty in our work.
Was that horny? I can't quite tell. That was a horny cake. Right, good to know. Lincoln does not necessarily provide items. In this game, at least. It does in a lot of games. Yeah, So I think what you have to do then is you have to judge based on the nature of the teachings. Because I feel that it is overly reductive to say that we don't know anything and we're not as wise as our ancestors, but at the same time, it is overly arrogant to totally dismiss our predecessors. And it can be difficult to reconcile those two things. God, difficult to reconcile should be my stage name at this point, considering how often I yap about it, but it does reflect my actual feelings in many ways. Because I sincerely believe that the world is a lot more complicated than we want it to be, and I dislike that. I wish the world was straightforward and simple enough that there was a properly optimal solution for every scenario. Sadly, such a thing does not exist. Right, this is gonna take the focus I like. Right, I have poison. Product is hard enough to deal with on its own. Oh, come on. That's better. Now, considering how many of these greater damage boosts I have, I should probably start using them. I guess I'll start popping. New fight. But I think the problem with not being able to simplify things is that for people like me who tend to stress over not being able to do the thing that is correct at any given opportunity, life tends to get a bit difficult. Like, life is difficult for everyone, I'm not unique in this regard, but at the same time, when you're neurodivergent, life is definitely a bit more tricky than if you're just neurotypical. Just in terms of pure technical difficulties. If not in terms of, like, actual, tangible difficulties. Right, this is the sort of difficulty I'm looking for, where a 1 or 2 full combos is enough to take out the little guys. That's I can live with that. Who are you? There's a lot of corpses here. And considering how sparsely populated the area seems to be.
The embrace of webwood never ends. It grips you with a strength of passion, a gentle stillness, a quiet moment. Sleep in this cradle of a balmy, secret place.
There's an absolutely vile joke I could have made there. I'm choosing not to. I regret that my co-hosts are not here to appreciate that I'm choosing not to. It's... Still, I'm sure you can infer what the joke was when talking about it. Not even a joke, more just a comment that an attempt at many people would say that that is the dictionary definition of a joke. I would say I haven't reached a dictionary. I make frequent use of dictionary.com and thesaurus.com though. So that's something at least. I don't know if it's a good thing, but as a writer, I think that by the way is part of my decision to not settle, in the sense that I could easily settle, commit hard to schoolwork, and then decide that I'm going to give up on my dreams of being a writer. Because that is my dream. I dream of being a writer that is at least on like my minimum goal is Jim Butcher, who is a very popular writer, but perhaps not quite as mainstream as someone like Sanderson. I don't really aspire to Sanderson, mainly because I still have some degree of realism left in my brain. But I think I'd like to hit the Jim Butcher, Will White level. Of course, if I completely abandon realism, then my dream is to eventually be a proper Pratchett type, but at that point that's not a dream anymore, that's just delusion. As much as I'd love for it to not be acknowledged that Terry Pratchett was one of a kind, and in many ways, I don't know if it's... I almost wonder if it's disrespectful just to even want to like him. I'm not putting him on a pedestal either. He's just genuinely one of the greatest writers who's ever lived. Him and Oda. One Piece is glorious, and I will fight anyone who says otherwise. I will probably lose because I'm neither eloquent nor particularly strong.
As you take, so are you taken. Hold me in your love, and I hold you in my own. Borrow me, and I will borrow you. Of kind, a kind of kindness, and forever a chill to comfort the warm.
So, yeah. Why do I get the feeling that, given the way the Fae are essentially nature spirits and plant types, is she talking about banging the forest? Is that what this is? 'Cause that's what it seems like. Combat. Difficult to yap during combat. It's not necessarily difficult for everyone. It's difficult for me though. Like, I like yapping, but combat makes it hard. Ah, I think I found a combo. But yeah, she's talking about how she wants to bang this forest, isn't she? I feel that this is something of a problem. For ethical reasons. Can a forest consent? These are the types of questions we must ask ourselves. Because if the forest, I'm very interested in those mycelium networks and learning if a forest really can become some sort of borderline sapient living creature. But I'm also like, what does that mean about consent? Like, does this forest have sufficient mycelium growth to have a sort of a mushroom neural network that is capable of enough rudimentary intelligence to consent to being in an intimate relationship with a weird fae lady? Again, I don't want to yuck anyone's yum, but there's some that are weird. There are fetishes that are weirder than others. There's just like, they're just so far removed from the standard human experience that I'm just like, but why? And me and Mel talked about feet for a while, or established that there is in fact a somewhat tangible reason for why are a thing. But like, I really don't get some other stuff. Like, anything to do with excrement, I'm just like, not real. Well, I don't get it, and I don't really care to get it. Oh god, that spider, I legitimately jumped a bit. The spider did in fact scare me. Alright, come on. Over here, if you dare. God, those elemental spears do quite a chunk of damage, don't they? But yeah, anyway, let's get off the gross topics for now and talk about something less, gross, like, capitalism. No, that's more gross. Space! The only place where capitalism cannot reach. Space!
On the third year of passage, Tyrion entered Dalantarth. In dark wood and fainy field she strode, until from wandering she was taken to the roots of mighty Velagru's child. So laden with Lyria's song, a greater magic known to none, she communed with nature's spirit, but the lyric she sought was not found. So to the plains of Erethel travelled the Lyria-guided Tyrion. Wind chased her swarthy cloak and tresses, masked her against the moonlit plains. That ebon evening tide, that coloured shade that so long ago marked us, Tyrion marched against the celestial expanse. Beneath the diamonded sky she found her rest.
Oh my god, is this the Boggart man?
I say, isn't there anything we can do about all this uncivilization in these lands? We have magic and weapons.
Oh no.
Should be easy work. But you could fit the bill. I'm part of an expedition to the teeth of... It's as I said, we are going to the unexplored land south of Dalantarth. Our coffers will thank us when we get there. If you need more information, find our camp near Ettenmere and speak to our leader, Helic. The Varani woman? Helic seems to respect her, but I have a feeling she'll cheat the lot of us before this is through. Leave me.
You're lucky you're a quest NPC, or I do a lot more than leave you. I feel like that's important. Probably has something to do with all the boggarts we can tell jokes to. Potentially. Oh, I seem to have arrived in Ettenmere. That was not my intention. But if I'm already here, I might as well... Yes, on the subject... Yeah, right. I forgot what I was talking about initially, but I remember now. The Shoulders of Giants. While it is true that we exist on the Shoulders of Giants, it is also true that...
Lord Ferrara, valiant warrior, destroyer of Enfaminir, Duke of the Hylarans, protector of the Ring of Kiozai, discoverer of the island of Meropis, were he only to meet a better end.
I don't know about all that, but what I do know is I'm gonna get this fast travel point so I can go back to this. Oh, I've cleared out the entirety of Let's go. So now I can go to Gorgoth and fight a Thresh, which we will learn is just the name this game has for treants, or Ents, as I like to call them, because that's what they are. And no non-Tolkienite, no amount of Tolkien lawsuits can... Tolkien estate lawsuits, sorry, I'm not sure how Tolkien proper would feel about this, but no amount of Tolkien lawsuits can... Tolkien estate lawsuits can convince me that their Ents are not Ents. Oh, do I not have... Huh. Seems that the character buff from the Lyrias, from my cheating, fade. That's a shame.
Sir Sagrel was a clever rogue of great and merry cheer. Oh, come and listen to the song of he who had no fear, of he who we hold dear.
You know what? In the interests of making this a bit more of a varied playthrough, I'm going to go make myself a pair of Feyblades. Because I'm sure I know Sir Sagrel used Feyblades, so I'll make myself a bow and arrow and some Feyblades, and then switch out my loadout a little bit. Let's see, Feyblades. Primal? No. Oh wow, the Primals actually do more damage than the Mithorn Prisoner. It's interesting. We're a fire damage family in this household. Where's my crit chance? Smithara, magnifying. Incineration. Confirm crafting. These will be my Sir Sagrel. Greg 1. And then my bow. Shall I do something different for the bow? Let's... Huh. Let's make it a poison bow. Yeah, I like that. What is the Gem of Amplitude? Critical damage, physical... Gem of Rot, that's right. Let's make it a fully poisonous bow. Who's toxic? Medici. 1. And good old Medici one. It looks decent. And then the red one. That's less decent, but you know. Oh god, these are just warglaves. These are just full on. Oh, that's what these are. These are Demon Hunter warglaves from WoW. Now I need to familiarize myself with the movesets. Oh. Made a mistake. Oh, you did the spinny spins. That was primal magic. I needed to... Maybe it's persistent. Right, let's see what moveset is like. So, favorites. Hold. Attack, pause attack. We've got a dodge attack, a parry attack, and... So they do a stun rather than an instant kill. And I already know the longbow one. Yeah, it's the charge shot, scatter shot. Well, that's that. I now have a good focus. Oh, hang on. There's something I can do here as well. Right, I never turned in this quest. That's interesting.
You made it. You're back. I was so worried that the Fae has recovered, thanks to your potion. In fact, Goreheart will be a new community. A place of compassion.
Well, I don't know
about thanks
that.
to you. Please, take my sword
Not that
and
it's
buckler.
thanks to me.
They will serve you well, as they have served me. Bye now.
It's definitely thanks to me, whatever happens, but the thing I take issue with is definitely the whole community aspect of things. I don't think it's going to be quite that simple. Look, I know
Take a look and let
no
me
one's
know
got
if you
me. My loot box friend Gambler has got me.
like to purchase anything.
Shell and grabs. Eyes of Tyrnok.
Nice to see you.
And you as well, sir. I think. Don't really know who you are. I may, in fact, change my opinion if you turn out to be a dick. I like fire damage. Maybe that'll be my goal for this playthrough, is to start liking a damage type other than fire. besides me making a poison longbow, absolutely has nothing to do with the fact that I didn't have any fire gems left to improve its fire damage. Not at all.
Brash dustling. You have no role in Fey telling. This story belongs to one of us, not some whelp fresh from the cradle.
Performing
First
cultural
that strange
appropriation.
maiden, now this. What is it you want here in Gorgoath?
Who is strange?
She approached each of us who is vying for an empty seat in the House of Ballads, sometimes in the forest, sometimes in the plains. Each time she offered reward beyond our imagining. All she asked in return was that we infiltrate the house as her agent. Needless to say, none accepted. Alas, Sagral's is a twisted tale, and we could use every available hand. You may stay. We were too late to catch the thresh as it fed. Now the beast slumbers guarded by the vines and weeds of Gorgoath. But all is not lost. If we can destroy the roots before they take hold, we can rouse the beast. Come, I'll keep the thresh occupied while you seek out the heart vines. Keep your eyes open. We should move swiftly. This is no place to linger. The thresh slumbers in its lair, a protective shell formed of vines of the hollow. We must weaken the nest, keep new shoots from taking root. I am Phaikon, speaker of renown the world over. I've claimed many ballads, but none so important as those sung by the Court of Enchantments. This is my third attempt at claiming a seat in the House of Ballads. Perhaps this... When you stand before the Knights of the Court of Enchantments, you bask in the glory of all Fae. While all of our kind play a role in the grand telling, it is the feats of a legendary few that bear remembering. These knights lead the House of Ballads. All Fae know of the storyteller. He is the caretaker of the telling and has been since the first spring began. There is no higher honor than to earn a noteworthy role in the telling. They make up the cornerstone of our shared experience. The House of Ballads' function is to ensure that the mightiest Fae heroes do not fade into obscurity, that they are always with us in the present. Call it history or the past. Each life tells a tale. But there is no yesterday, as there is no tomorrow. It is all today. One grand and vibrant telling. Our narrative continues to be spun. Even your presence here, while strange, is part of the changing picture. The beast and Gorgoath Hollow work together. Like lovers, the grave thresh emerges to feed and kill, to collect sustenance for itself and the Hollow. When it returns to its lair, the thresh is embraced by Gorgoath, wrapped in a warm, living shell that protects it until the next time they hunger.
Why the Fae gotta be so horny? Well, I know the answer to that. It's true to the mythology, but like, they're really. I like that. Cheat. Well, that's a good attack. Feyblades, as is typical of Dex weapons, are kind of some of the cooler looking attack, like combos and stuff.
2 times he drank his weight in wine, and many lovers pleased, and drunk from such idle pleasures, with lethargy was seized. On beds of grass he eased.
I mean, mythology is inherently horny, but that's mostly because I think sexuality is such a major part of the human experience for the vast majority of people that mythology just can't help. Yep, they do appear to be resistant Right, I need to remember to pop a greater damage boost. Actually, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just do this as well. Eh. I'll have to be told later on if the noise is excessively bothersome. If it is, that's not ideal, but if it's not, that's also fine. Right? Like if the noise is bothersome, then I'm definitely not gonna do it. But if it's not too bothersome, then I can keep at it. Cool animation, by the way. It's goopy and a bit jank, but that's part of the charm, honestly. Yeah, I think this dungeon's gonna wrap it up for the stream today. Last time I went for 4 hours, and I think that was part of why I quit the gap, because I had gone too long. But now, I think I'm gonna pace myself a bit. Develop slowly, right? Because, like, again, my streamer idol, if my writer idols are Will White, Terry Pratchett, and Eiichiro Oda, then my streamer idols are the likes of Maximilian Dude and Northern Lion. Though definitely more Northern Lion than Maximilian Dude. No offense to Max, I love fighting games, but he's not as much of a yapper. That's like the reason I watch streams and like used to. Oh, Jesse Cox. I would be remiss not to mention Jesse Cox, even though it sounds like he's an afterthought. He's very much not. In fact, he was the first streamer / YouTuber I ever decided to follow. Or by decided, I mean he's the first streamer / YouTuber I ever actually did follow. And then the dear departed John Total Biscuit Dane himself. Their Terraria series was my introduction to YouTube, and it was a hell of an introduction. I am running out of things to yap about, but I'm sure I'll think of something. But I think one of the advantages of this is I can yap about yapping, which is funny, but...
A sudden sound and fearsome roar awoke our hero from his rest. The maid of Windermere had called the grave thresh from its nest to have at her behest.
Putting the smoke bomb on. But yeah, you can yap about yapping. And that is a source of yapping in and of itself. But I take pride in yapping. And the same way that I realized, oh, I'm not some sort of writing prodigy who can just write an instant bestseller as the first novel I write. Which, again, it is arrogant to think that, but at the same time, That is just how a lot of expectation goes for any children. The expectation that because they're special, they must obviously be very good at what they choose to care about. Which just isn't the case and should not be the case in that way, right? Like, you shouldn't force children into these expectations.
We shall face this threat as a pair, mortal. I do not like this.
I don't know for sure, but everything that Viken is saying is suggesting to me that he is not long for this world. I don't even remember if that's the case or not for sure. It's just that it's called genre awareness. There's the thresh. Oh, it's bravery. Right. Turns out, if you do this properly, and there you go. Oh wow, you just dropped. I forgot that you dropped them in the animation. Ah, I only got the 50%.
Wasn't so terrible.
It really wasn't so terrible, was it? Right, I forgot about the Essence of Fate. And get that off of murdering people with your Reckoning mode, especially if they're like larger enemies. Remember that. I still forgot. Speaking of remembering, I still forgot to pop the damage boost potion, which is just typical of me at this point. Where'd the other stuff is?
Sir Sagril approached the spirit deep within Gorguath. He slashed its wicked stock and root, safe from behind its wrath, slyly from a side path.
How can this be? Sir Sagril dead? I do not understand. Such a tragedy has never occurred in this song. Not in all the seasons of the telling. At the end of this ballad, Sagril defeats the Grave Thresh. He is victorious. I don't know how, but someone has changed the song of Sir Sagril. Listen. We are not alone. I do not like this.
Oh, well, I may have used my thing very quickly. Is that it? Is there more? Beat the threshes, so I'm guessing there's more than one of those around. As you can perhaps tell by my... Oh, there was another one. Oh, there's Fike. Well, I was right in that he was not long for this world, because I'm pretty sure he wouldn't have just died up. But what are you gonna do? Yeah, it's not great, but it's that said, there is loot to be had. Right.
And thusly did Sir Sagrel slay, and thus the thresh was dead. But from the heart of Gorgoath came two beasts in its stead. Woke two beasts from their bed. 2 times did Sir Sagrel struggle, 2 times he swore an oath. I'll leave your wretched corpses here, and he battled them both amidst the undergrowth. And that morn, a figure emerged, alone and single fay. He sauntered past the gathered crowd and turned to them to say, I think I'll rest today.
I can definitely tell what character archetype this dude was. I mean, they said it in the song, right? Like, he's the rogue. So, they're from the House of Ballads, and it's almost more bard-like. Feels like, but you know. I think I've been having too much dead air at the tail end, so I think we've realized that about an hour and a half, hour 45 is my limit when it comes to yapping productively. For that, I just sort of devolve into dead air and talk. So, you know, it's something. I think this is also going to be different depending on the game. There's games that are more entertaining to talk about as well. There's games that are easier and harder to talk about, and I think this is one of those that's a bit more tricky to just endlessly yap about. Like, I was considering that a game like Hitman World of Assassination or Freelancer Mode, there's a lot more room for just casual conversation and generalized yapping. Because while it will necessitate like focusing on the game, there's a lot of downtime in that game while you wait for things, and also it can be entertaining to talk about the game more so than in this one, because it's like basically I think I know what I'm gonna play next time, but I do want to just keep playing this game just to develop that practice. Like last time, I believe I petered out at around like an hour 30. So if I could manage till an hour 45 this time, then maybe an hour 50 or even 2 hours next time. That's the dream, right? Like that's the ultimate goal, is to just every day be slightly better than you started. That's more than enough, I think. It's more than enough to just be a little bit better every day. That's the key to not settling. Achieving the expectations that you lay out for yourself is just be a bit better every day. Just keep working at what you're passionate about, and eventually you will make it. And with that, thank you everyone for joining us. It has been a lovely stream. I managed to yap much more satisfactorily. And we will see you next time. Bye-bye, good night, and sweet dreams.